Yes, good morning. It is a beautiful Friday and we are right here on Cactv just to report to you the news making headlines around the globe. It's your godmother Dominic.
My name is Oladipo. Good morning, viewers at home.
Good morning, Engineer.
Good morning.
So your native is looking sparkling on you this morning.
Thank you very much.
Alright, we're going to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at stories making headlines, and then we'll take our quote for the day. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly. Yes, welcome back from that break. So quickly, let's take a look at our quote for the day. And our quote for the day says, "Such love has no fear, because perfect love expels all fear." If we are afraid, it is for fear of judgment. And this shows that his love has not been perfected in us. I take that again, the book of 1 John chapter 4 verse 18. It says, "Such love has no fear, because perfect love expels all fear." If we are afraid, it is for the fear of judgment, and this shows that his love has not been perfected in us. So, meaning that the love of God has no fear. If the love of God is perfected in you, through you, to everyone around you, you won't have fear. The only fear that you encounter is the fear of judgment. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, am I really doing it right? Oh, am I really righteous in the sight of God? Am I really getting something right? Is there something I'm not doing right? It means that you're just afraid of the judgment. But when the love of God is in you, when the fear of God is in you, you will not be afraid of anything, because the only fear you see is the fear of judgment. And it went further in saying that, and this shows that his love has not been perfected in us. So for the love of God to be perfected in you, you have to take away fear. Fear of judgment, fear of things that we don't even know, fear of the unseen. Because oftentimes as human, you know, a lot of the fear that we have are fear of the unknown. You're like, oh, this person said that when I started feeling like this, it shows that it's a symptom of cancer. Or when you start feeling like this, it's a symptom of high blood pressure. And then you start feeling that just because you have a swelling on your leg doesn't mean that, you have it on your hand doesn't mean that that is the case. You're already afraid of the unknown. So meaning you have to make the love of God perfect in your heart, in your life, so that you are not afraid of the unknown, because the love of God in us perfects everything. It brings about perfection. It does not bring about the judgments, because God does not see the things that you do, in as much as you go back to him and say, Father, forgive me because I've erred against you. Yes, so let the love of God be perfected in your heart. Let the love of God rule your heart. Let the love of God guide you in this season and beyond. Alright, so that is the quote that we have for today. So let's get to the business of the day. And what are we talking about today? We are still taking a look at the newspaper review, and in no particular order, but I think it's just something about us that we start with the Punch newspaper. So let's take a look at the first story from the Punch. First story from the Punch says, fuel price rejects World Bank 750 naira per litre proposal. NLC warns FG. The Nigerian Labour Congress on Thursday warned the federal government against heeding the advice of the World Bank to increase the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, to 750 naira per litre. The NLC's head of information, Benson Uba, in an interview with The Punch, said any further increase in the price of petrol will lead to anarchy in the country. He therefore called on the government to reject the proposal of the World Bank that petrol should sell at about 750 naira per litre, as against the current rate of between 620 naira and 650 naira per litre in most locations across the country. This came as oil marketers explained that the cost of PMS should be around 1,000 naira per litre, and had it been that the government not subsidizing the product, but the government on Thursday denied the claims of marketers and the World Bank as regards the reintroduction of subsidy on petrol in Nigeria. Now, the further story also says that the World Bank on Wednesday asked the federal government to stop the subsidy payment on petrol and raise the cost of the product to 750 naira per litre. It is also said that the federal government might still be paying the subsidy, as fuel prices in Nigeria were currently not cost reflective, stressing that Nigerians should pay about 750 naira per litre for PMS, as against the current price of 650 naira per litre. Okay, so that's the first story that we have from the Punch newspaper. And you know, I really do not know why the World Bank is advising that the fuel price should be increased. Looking at the current price that we have already, we're already having issues with, you know, seeing queues here and there, and having people talk about the expenses, the hike in price already being 650 naira, and then looking at it coming up to 750 naira is one thing. I would also join the NLC to say no, the government shouldn't pay attention to this, because where would this lead us to? People are already suffering enough. So why is this coming up, and why are we going back and forth on fuel prices? Engineer.
Yeah, you see, the NLC head of information, Benson Upa, you know, has given the government very good advice, because at this stage and how the economy is now, it will be very, very dangerous for any government now to increase the fuel pump price of PMS. It is going to be dangerous. Nobody can predict what will happen. Already we have inflation in the country, and it's biting the people very, very hard.
And not just on petrol.
And the extreme rate is not laughing. So to increase the pump price of petroleum as at now is going to be disastrous. So government should not do that at all. But what the is saying is an advice to the government. And again, when the World Bank is now telling Nigeria to increase the fuel price, you know, in every country of the world, you have to manage your own economy, because oftentimes these Westerners will advise you wrongly. They want to enslave you again. they will come to do away with all your solid materials. Now they are telling you that, okay, increase the fuel pump price because you said you have removed the subsidy. It's not reflective. How would you know it's not reflective? When people are complaining, people are suffering. And then the materials are coming again from their own perspective, saying that no, the government is still paying subsidy. How do you know the government is still paying subsidy? Because this is from this pause they have been eating. You know, one thing is that we have a lot of economic damages in this country. That when the government brings a new policy that will work, they make sure they destroy the policy. This thing, I've said it several times on number that if you don't fight corruption, corruption will fight you. And when corruption fights you to stand still, your government cannot perform. This is what happened to the last administration. Buhari was unable to perform because corruption, Buhari was unable to defeat corruption in his government. And these people that were involved, they fought back. And they won. The same thing is happening in the country today. So if the government does not look into the areas of corruption, there is no way they can be able to administer very well the economy of this nation. So my advice is for the government to look at all the loopholes. For example, in the oil sector, people are still stealing Nigerian oil. Exactly. They are still breaking pipes. They are still doing bunkering. If you do not stop all these people, the economy cannot become fantastic again. Because this is the major problem we have in this country. Until this problem is solved, now they are now going back again to tell the officials of the World Bank, tell Nigeria to increase the fuel price. Why would they tell us to increase the fuel price? On what account? On what account? Is the World Bank managing the economy of Nigeria? Now, the World Bank, those money lenders outside Nigeria will say, okay, if you want to take money, we want to increase our rate. We want to increase the lending rate. And when we increase the lending rate, what happens to that country? Already Nigeria will have high inflation in the country today. And you are advising the government again to increase the fuel price. To me, they used to say one thing in Yoruba language. When you are calling Kubaje, you can shit here there. I will push you, I will advise you wrongly, so that I can have gain over you. I will not advise, but I will not do what I am asking you to do. I will give you wrong advice so that you fall. I can tell you categorically that it's not the World Bank that is speaking. Nigerians are speaking like a masquerade. Somebody is under that garment and is talking to you that, okay, I don't know, I'm from heaven. It's not so. So the government has to be very, very, very careful to listen to this advice of these marauders. I don't see these people as economists. They want to ill-advise the government so that the government can fall. If you increase the fuel price now, people will go out on the streets, start protesting, workers will down tools, and what happens? There will be chaos in the country. This is what they want. Because my question still is that why World Bank? What business have they with telling the government what to do or telling Nigerians what to do? Meanwhile, we already have facing issues as far as cash is concerned. Now, lately, the POS money givers have already increased their charges because, story have it that there is no cash anywhere. So there's a lot to concentrate on. Let's face our departments and let the government do what they need to do. But this is actually not it at all. Currently, with what we're going through, not just in the with the petroleum, but with other sectors, with other things, everything is quite on a high right now, and that's the least that we need, increments in petrol, because everything still boils down to petrol. They will tell you when you go to buy something at the market man will tell you that now so I buy if I calculate transport join, waiting can remain. So everything still boils down to transportation, and this is because the fuel price has been increased. So the government really need to step into this and see to it that something is done honestly, so this doesn't so this view of which they have proposed doesn't become a reality. Okay, so moving on to the next story that we have from the Punch. This says 6 Rivers commissioners resign, assembly factions hold parallel sittings.
The Rivers State political crisis deepened further on Thursday as 6 commissioners loyal to ex-governor Nyesom Wike resigned from the cabinet of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Also, this was as the 2 factions of the split state House of Assembly held separate sittings on Thursday. The commissioners who tendered their resignation were the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Prof. Zacchaeus Adago, which is SAN, Commissioner for Works, Dr. Des George Kelly, Commissioner for Special Duties, Emeka Moke, Commissioner for Social Affairs and Rehabilitation, Mrs. Ineme Aguma, the Commissioner for Finance, Isaac Kamalu, and the Commissioner for Education, Prof. Chinedu Nom. Of the 6 commissioners, 5 served under Wike's administration in the same capacity, while Moke and Wike's chief of staff for 8 years. Now, the 5 commissioners confirmed their resignation to the Punch on the telephone. The Commissioner for Works, George Kelly, said he resigned because my conscience will not allow me to stay. Now, the Social Welfare Commissioner, Mrs. Aguma, said, I have other commitments. All right, so that's that's coming from Rivers. So I wouldn't say if this is actually good or if this is actually bad, but looking at what Kelly is actually saying from his own angle, that my conscience wouldn't allow me. If something is not going on well and you're not, you can't, they say if you can't beat them, you join them. So if you can't beat them, the best for you to do is to resign. So if you can't beat them, you just have to join them. So everyone, I think they all have their reasons for resigning, but is this good for the state at the moment? Because considering what has been happening for the past few months since the new governor stepped in, so it's been back and forth for Rivers State. So is this a good step for them? Does this speak well for them at this point?
We can only determine the beginning of a fight. Only God knows what will be the end of the fight. This is between father and son in politics. The godfatherism and son. It is between Fubara and Wike. And those that are resigning today are those commissioners who are loyal to former governor Wike. They are resigning because they now see that, oh, we can't work with this government, Fubara. And what is the causes of this rift between the both of them? If you look at it without missing words, without ambiguity, without saying any untruthful statement, you like that it's because of what interest. You are supposed to be there to serve the people and not the other way around. Wike is no longer the governor of the state, but at the same time Wike would like to protect the integrity of the state. He left a very good footpath. He developed Rivers State. He commissioned so many projects. If he wants his successor to tread on the same path that he did, but only God knows what is causing the between them. But politically, you can say it's because of interest. That's why those that are loyal to Wike are saying we are resigning. The House of Assembly is divided into 2. They are holding
2 separate meetings.
Is that good for democracy? That is just a very big slap on the Rivers State people who voted you into power. They should have reconciled themselves without escalating it, because we don't know what to be the end of the fight. At the end of the day, some people could not come up and say, like what happened in Ondo State, before the president came in to solve the matter. Now, okay, Ondo State governor is leaving or has left for medical treatment abroad in Germany, and the deputy governor is now the acting governor. This is what we ought to have been done initially, that you are not strong enough to run the administration. Give it to your deputy who can do it, but because of political differences between the both of them, they will not agree. The same thing is happening now in Rivers State. Wike presently is a minister in Abuja, a different office entirely, and Fubara is the governor in the state. But you see, they still have this between them, and this is causing setback for the people of Rivers State. Of
course, because as it stands, they've not been able to talk about the growth of the state. It has been back and forth.
Many people from Ashoka Assembly, move from PDP to APC, and that's not good for PDP. So at the end of the day, what will happen to the so the issue is this. To me, I think this problem started from former President Obasanjo. Initially, when this era began, it was the state party chairman that will govern the party in the state, that will control the party in the state, that will determine the affairs, administer the affairs of the party in the state. But now, the affairs of the party in the state is now in the hand of the governor. Governor is a party member. He's not the leader of the party. He's a party member, and he made his intention known to the party chairman that I want to run for the seat of the governor in this state. Now, if he consent to it with the executives, it's over. Go ahead. But now, when the governor becomes the head of the party in the state, you cannot do without this type of hostilities. I think they should very away from this, that the state chairman of the party should be the one that will be driving the train of the party in the state, not the governor, so that we can put a stop to this. But if the governor of the party does not stipulate that chairman of the party in the state is the head of the party in the state, so they will not be able to control the governor, and this thing will be becoming recurring occurrences until something is done about it.
All right, so away from Rivers State, let's go to the next story, which is the last story that we have from the Punch newspaper, and this says kidnappers return to Lagos, adopt 2, demand 500 million naira ransom. Some residents of Lagos State have raised the alarm over the spike in cases of kidnappings in the state in recent times. Now, the Punch Metro learned that the incident had largely been recorded on the mainland, particularly in the Alimosho and Amurodofin local government area of the state. Now, it also had it that it was also gathered that wealthy people were the soft targets of the adopters who demanded huge ransoms. Okay, so we'll also see that checks by our correspondent on Thursday also revealed that the significant rise in the trend became noticeable in the areas around August. The most recent, however, is the adoption of a car dealer popularly known as AGK Conversion in the Ladipo spare part market on Saturday night. Now, AGK was said to have been taking an inventory of his newly imported goods in front of his plaza around 12 a.m. when some armed men swooped in on him and his workers. While his workers fled for safety following the sound of gunshots, AGK was not so lucky as the armed men attacked him, dragged him into their vehicle and drove off. This is actually not a good one for us right now in Lagos or anywhere in the country, because safety at this point is very important. But to even see that he was taking stock at 12 a.m. is what I'm still wondering. 12 a.m. is already midnight, but then this is our country. We're supposed to be afraid of when to do when, and I'm sure for him this is not the first time he's actually taking stock at that time. So for this to have happened, it shows that there is more to it. Someone cannot just come and kidnap you and ask for 500 million naira. It shows that it's either an insider is part of it. But my question is, this is not the first story that we are having as far as Lagos is concerned. So security has now become an issue for us. How well are we dealing with security issues in Nigeria as far as Lagos or every part of Nigeria is concerned? Engineer, what's your take on this story?
You see, well, we are sorry for the incident, and I believe that by the special grace of God, Ejike will be found and return back to his family. But having said that, one have to consider one fact that day is for work, one night is for resting and sleeping. You know, we all know the current situation of the country now, and we heard about stories of kidnappers here and there all over the places. For Christ's sake, what is this man doing? Taking wood stock 12 a.m. in the morning.
It's questionable.
With some people with him. No, is a questionable
incident.
Yes, that I want to take stock, not on the day, not the day, while during the night, 12 a.m. in the night. And those people that came to take the money away, they must have been training the man.
They must have known that this is a trend for him.
Yes. Now he should be very, very careful. You know, this should be a very big lesson to all of us that what are you doing in the night? I could remember there was a time when we were in the school or the college, we were in Malaysia. You know, we were we gathered Nigerian students, we gathered ourselves, shouting and talking about football. Then the police people came with their car and said, "Wow, what are you doing in the dark?" Everybody dispersed because there was no light. That place was darker, very close to the market. They said, "What are you doing in the dark?" Everybody dispersed. We have to disperse. That's security. So that is a lesson for Nigerian security. But at the same time, again, the police are also human beings. That when they parade in the night, because this man is rich, they will when they approach him, they will just get money from him and go away. They will not advise him this is not this place is dangerous.
Exactly.
And that wouldn't have been his first time of doing it. Exactly. I just pray that this man is found and these kidnappers we pray that the government will get hold of these kidnappers and then
the punishment that is due.
It's very sad.
It's a sad one, but we also have to be careful. We also have to be security conscious. But ourselves, we also need to take that part of paying attention to security. They keep saying this: don't do some things that you're not supposed to do. Once it's time, you go home. In fact, it's always said in Nigeria, it's only Nigeria that always hear that once it's December time, it's not a safe period though. Things are always happening though. A lot of things are always happening. And I think this is not just a mercy, it is something that they've, over the time realized that it is not a safe period. So when we know that this is not a safe period, by ourselves, we should be intentional about paying attention to security, actions around us and not, put ourselves at risk, because this is more like putting yourself at risk, knowing that this is not a safe time. Okay, I just pray that he's being found and justice is being served to those who have adopted him. Okay, so right now we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we still have stories for you from the Vanguard and also the Sun. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly. Yes, welcome back from that quick break. So we're still taking a look at the stories making headlines, and right about now we'll dive into the story from Vanguard newspaper, and this is saying, the first story says, former Anambra Governor Ezeife is dead. That's sad. Former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezeife, is dead, has been pronounced dead. A statement from Chief Rob Ezeife on behalf of the family said he died at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, yesterday. Further story have it that Ezeife was governor of Anambra State between January 1992 to November 1993. The statement read, on behalf of the Ezeife dynasty of Igbo I wish to announce the promotion to glory of our most distinguished son, Okwadike Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezeife Kon, a former federal permanent secretary, a former governor of Anambra State, a former political advisor to the president and former presidential aspirant. This sad event took place yesterday at 6 p.m. at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja. More details about the deceased and the arrangement for his state burial will be announced later in the day. So let's look forward to that. But it's quite sad to hear this news that he's been dead, but the story behind his death, whether he was sick or not, we haven't known. So more details would be aired shortly. But Engineer, what do you have to say about this?
The man is quite old. He's about 85 years of age, and he died. Everybody will die. We sympathize with his family. May so rest in perfect peace. He's one of Nigerian leaders and he's gone. He was a former governor for almost 2 years, from January to November the following year. Almost 2 years.
An advisor for that matter. I think he has really served well.
Yes.
He has served well. He has done well.
A comfortable life. May so rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Okay, so let's take the next story. This says World Igbo Congress urges Supreme Court to free Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. As the Supreme Court is set to decide on the fate of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mercy Nnamdi Kanu, today, the World Igbo Congress, WIC, has urged the Apex Court to affirm earlier judgment of subordinate court and other Kanu's unconditional release. WIC, the Apex Organization for All People of Igbo descent in the diaspora, also urged the Supreme Court to ignore the rumored pressure on it to postpone the December 15 judgment day it had earlier scheduled to decide on Kanu's matter. U.S. lawmaker Jarvis Johnson of District 139, State of Texas, and the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, Emmanuel Onwanyahu, respectively made similar calls. Chairman of WIC, Dr. Festus Okere, in a statement said WIC's view that Kanu is a freedom fighter and a leading advocate of Igbo interests within the Nigerian polity has been ratified by the recent ruling of the High Court of Enugu State. Okay, so that's the second story that we have from the Vanguard. So I'm now like World Igbo Party. Okay, so now there's so much story behind Nnamdi Kanu, and why this matter is still being postponed and rescheduled in court is what I still, still trying to, fathom why this is still the case at this point. So, Engineer, what's your take on this?
Well, the word in the Congress is advising the government, especially the Judiciary Department, to look into the matter and then release Nnamdi Kanu. This matter is in the hand of the government, and the matter is in court. It is not polite for us to be talking about any matter that is in court. The court will decide if the man has to be released or not. But to me, if there is nothing against the man, he should be released. Now, if there is anything against the man, he should be judged. He should be judged because his matter has not been judged. He's been in detention for how long now? For a longer time. So they should decide this matter, either to release him or whatever they want to do. Then
because the matter has really been prolonged.
Yes, the man was sick, and yet he was still in detention. Though he jumped bail, and then I think the government knows what to do about this situation, especially the Justice Department. I don't want to comment on matters that is already
still in court. All right, so let's take a look at the next story. This says insecurity, Nigeria to strengthen bilateral relations with U.S. The minister made this known when he met with Congresswomen Betty McCollum and federal members of the U.S. Congress at the United States Capitol. Highlighting the significance of the long-standing friendship between Nigeria and the U.S., the minister reaffirmed Mr. President's commitment in eradicating the activities of terrorism in Nigeria through the collaborative efforts of the U.S. in alignment with President Bola Tinubu's agenda, with emphasis on provision of security. Dr. Matawel further said that the collaboration between the two countries would boost Nigeria's capability in addressing pressing security challenges, particularly in the fight against terrorism. Now, going further, the Congresswoman Betty McCollum, who is currently the leader of the United States House Committee and Appropriation for Defense, expressed U.S. unwavering willingness and commitment to support Nigeria in its efforts to combat terrorism and other security threats through intelligence and information sharing, training and military hardware production. Okay, so looking at the last statement coming from her, saying that this cannot be done just like that, it has to be done through intelligence and information sharing. This is something that we also have to take a look at. If we can't say we're fighting security and then we are not paying attention to this part of, and I think it's also a good thing that they are looking at coming together to make sure that terrorism is being put to a stop, because that is one of the things we're facing in Nigeria. Insecurity has become the order of the day. So over to you.
No, you see, all over the world, we have terrorists. There's terrorism all over the world. But the part of the world, what they do is that they allocate huge amount of money as military budget to fight internal terrorism. We don't do that in the country. We are inviting US to come into the country. It's a good thing to assist you to fight terrorism. Tell me anywhere in the world that foreigners have assisted the locals to fight terrorism to stand still. Tell me anywhere in the world. US left Afghanistan. Look at Afghanistan today. Because the orientation of the people, the local people, will change. What they see, that what you can see naturally will change. You will see things artificially. Because when you invite, okay, look at the example. Nigerian military do not have assembly plant where they assemble and produce military vehicles. We still have to import military vehicles. And we have better Nigerians, good Nigerians who are very, very good in military hardware. That they can design, manufacture military hardware. We are not doing that. At least most of these ammunition, some of them could be produced in the country. And then Nigeria, we need to train more of our military men, more police force, so that we can be able to combat this terrorism in Nigeria with our own means. I'm not saying bringing in foreigners is not good.
Exactly.
We are bringing foreigners for training, but we have to prepare ourselves to fight terrorism in this country. You know, yes, if our military are equipped to that extent, they can be able to put this terrorism to a standstill, to full stop. Because those terrorists are Nigerians, they're Africans. And we are in the best position to fight them. Because we all know the terrains. They know the terrain, we know the terrain. But government is not putting so much effort to fight terrorism. And that this terrorism is part of what is damaging the economy. If you are bringing in the US to do that for us now, money, lot of money will be spent. And I don't know if anything tangible could be achieved through this means.
You know, like just like you said, I think I also support that, because it's not just about bringing in foreigners to come and fight. It is about training our people in the knowledge that they already have, because these people are vast in, you know, in security technology. They understand this very well. So it is just for our government to say, okay, what exactly is the way forward? This is what we want you to do. Come and train our people. You know, impart knowledge in them, let them understand these things, so that, because see, like you said, nobody can fight this terrorism like we do, because we know the terrain, we know how to, you know, we understand this. So they don't understand. They would only come from the angle at which they fight at their own country, not at the way it is for us here, because they are two different things entirely. But it's just, you know, bringing them in to impart knowledge in our people and making sure that, you know, they know what to do as far as using the technology aspect of it to fight insecurity and terrorism.
Yes, even if you look at Afghanistan, what happened there was that when the British military were coming, they really come with a helicopter. They will land during the day, they will fly during the day, in the night they don't sleep, helicopter will take them away. They only leave the locals. They will incite you to fight against the border, because they know they will say, no, we're not familiar with this terrain. It is you. Okay, let me give an example. During the Iraqi-American war, what happened was that Nigerian military were the first to lead, and majority of them died on that first day of operation. The Americans did not lead. You understand? So what they do is that when they come to this country, they can give us training, fine, and they say to us military hardware that can use to fight terrorists in this country. But mostly, majorly, our people have must be involved. When you look at the scenario in the north, you have to now invite the locals. So what the government is supposed to do is to recruit more people, more armed people to fight these insurgencies. If you don't recruit more people, how will you put it to a standstill? It's not possible. And this thing is tearing the country apart. There is no amount of budget you want to spend annually. If this terrorism is not stopped, the budget will be drastically affected.
All right, thank you so much, Engineer. So we are way behind time, so let's quickly call it a wrap. Let's take the last story that we have. This is Tudunbiri, don't fall victim of scammers, group warns villagers. Speaking in reactions to the 33 billion naira lawsuit said to have been instituted by the Dalhatu Salihu against the federal government over the mishap, and a statement where the Southerners Kaduna for Peace and Unity Forum berated Kaduna state government over its handling of the situation. President of the group, Ewal Abdullahi Aliyu, tasked the Tudun Biri community to be careful of whom they relate with, to avoid falling into the hands of those that have nothing good for them, but only want us to use them to achieve their parochial ends. Okay, so the story goes further by saying that they also cautioned those who want to benefit from the conflict to desist. This is also a story known that we are aware of a lawsuit filed by one Makta Osman X, which is the counsel to one Alhaji Dalhatu Saliu, who is claiming to do so on behalf of the villagers. They are demanding for apology in 3 national dalis, and also 33 billion naira compensation. Okay, so that's the last story that we have to take. Okay, so looking at the heading of this says, don't fall victim of scammers, group wants villagers. And this also boils down to, security that we're talking about. People would go around and tell you that this is actually what is good for you, this is actually not what is good for you, and saying that a lawsuit has been filed and then they are demanding for 33 billion naira. That's a huge sum of money. Engineer, do you have anything to say to this before we move?
The government has to make a pronouncement on the matter. What happened was not good at all. Many innocent people died. They were killed, but it was not intentional. And the military has come out to say, okay, it was an accident. And I think they need compensation. They need to be compensated.
Exactly.
Government has to do something about that. But fighting a suit of 3 billion naira, I don't know what will be the reaction of the government. But I still believe that government has to do something.
They need to be compensated.
Yes, and what has been done. Yes, because all those damages are not reparable. So the government should be able to come up with a fantastic, juicy compensation that is to pacify the people who have lost their dear ones. It doesn't have to end like that. Government has to do something. I sympathize with those people. It's paining. It's paining, it's disheartening for you to lose loved ones at the tender age. Many children died, many young people died. So, and the ministry have come up to say, okay, we are sorry for that. It was an accident. But at the same time, the government has to come up to do something about it. The matter of going to court to demand for 33 billion naira, well, I don't know if the government attempt to that. I don't know. I think that's the best way for them, because they know that if they don't take the matter to court, they may not be heard. Okay, so that's how much we can take for today's newspaper review. Thank you so much for joining us on CACTV newspaper review. It's been a fantastic time, and I'm sure that you also had a good time with us, and also learned from the information that we've been able to analyze so far. So this is what we call it a wrap. Thank you so much. Do have a blessed weekend, and make sure that you stay out of trouble. Make sure that you are security conscious. Make sure that you do the needful and show love to people around you, because we all need to be loved in this season. Thank you so much. From me, I say thank you and God bless you. I remain yours truly, Modu Dominic. Be Nigeria.
Bye, Nigeria.
Bye.